Hello and welcome back to the Winning Brand Podcast. Thanks to all the new and returning listeners. We love to bring you content that resonates and will help you level up to win in business. I want to introduce to you my very special guest today, G. Brian Benson. Brian is an award-winning author of self-improvement and children's books. He's an author, TEDx speaker, filmmaker, actor, and a finisher of over 50 triathlons, overachiever, including 4 Ironman races. Brian tries to live by example and enjoys sharing his own growth process in his everyman version of the hero's journey, hoping that it inspires and sparks others to become more self-aware, self-worthy, and excited by their own growth process. Let's dive in. Hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm really good, Chase. Thank you. How are you?
I'm outstanding. Thanks for asking.
Of course.
So I mentioned you in episode 41 of my storytelling show that I did, and I told my audience about your amazing short stories and the fact that you absolutely told an amazing story with no words, and I watched it like 4 times.
Searching for you're talking about searching for happiness. Yeah.
Yes, it was beautiful.
Thank you.
And it expressed a beautiful message. So I want you to speak on tapping into your creativity, and what does that process look like?
Wow. That's a great question. I'm going to have to take you back just a little bit probably to get there. I really didn't know anything that, I'm currently doing, the writing, the acting, you name it. I didn't know it was inside of me until about 10 years ago. And it didn't show itself all then either. I was running my family's business and I was kind of burned out, and I just felt like I was supposed to do something else with my life. I felt like I had a gift inside of me that wanted to come out, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know how to release it. But I wanted to try. So I left the business, but I ended up having to stay an extra year because we decided to sell it. And we had a golf center up in Oregon. It was a driving range, a retail store, and a 9-hole par 3 course. And so during that last year, one day I just sat down because I was feeling really out of balance, and I thought I'd write down a handful of things just to that I knew that would help keep me in balance during that period. And they did. And then my intuition just said, expand the list and write a book, and I'd never done anything like that before, but I just kind of did that. I allowed it kind of to come through me, and I self-published it, and it didn't sell a lot of copies initially because I didn't know how to market it, and I was terrified to speak in front of people at the time. But it won a couple of awards, which shocked me. And so it just kind of pointed me in this new direction. And so, that was kind of probably the beginning of maybe some inklings that I had some creative abilities. And then the rest just kind of came along the path here within the last 10 years, just taking advantage of opportunities and getting ideas in weird places, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And I just said yes and stepped into it. The acting wasn't planned either, So for me, it's just, I've started to feel really alive when I honored those intuitive hits and started to allow some things to kind of come through me. And it just felt great. And I felt like I was putting out some good stuff, positive media in different ways. And I just kept saying yes and just kept building.
And, and actually that was my next question, because I love the story of how you actually started trusting your intuition and stepping out of your comfort zone when you were in the family business, and how your path just, evolved from there. So take us back a little bit to, I know you touched on a little bit, but tell us exactly how long did it take before you just had that burning feeling like you just had to leave?
Yeah, right.
That journey.
Sure. Well, I ended up running it for 11 years. And prior to that, I kind of worked there during the summers, and I, started picking up range balls when I was in 7th grade. So it'd been a part of my life for, over 20 years. I think when I started doing it initially, when I took it over, I kind of had in the back of my mind that this wasn't my forever love. I
Right.
didn't know what that would be, but I just felt like, it was a good opportunity. I had a young son at the time, and I was divorced, but I knew I needed something stable just to kind of, bring some money in. And it was a good opportunity. I was my own boss, which was nice. It was a lot of work, but, I just did it. I just, said yes. And I mean, oh my gosh, I mean, most people give their left arm to do something like that. So,
Right.
I got to interact with, the public every day, and they were usually in a good mood because they were going down to hit balls or play golf. And so, it fit my personality, and it kind of allowed me to grow in some ways that I probably needed to grow too. But to answer your question, I kind of felt all along that maybe it wasn't what I wanted to do. And then that last year before I went up to my dad and said, you know what, I think I need to leave. It just really started building, and the signs started kind of, when it's time to leave, just all kinds of signs come in, or at least where I was a lot more hyper in tune to paying attention to them. It's like, all right, it's time to go. So yeah.
I like that because a lot of people get stuck in situations and don't really know, and they see the signs.
Right. And then it happens to them anyways, and then it's a little bit more of a shock, I suppose, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, analysis by paralysis, like no, I can't leave. Okay, so you have a brand new book,
Yeah.
Habits for Success. Why does everyone need a copy? And by the way, I downloaded my copy.
Uh, uh,
Yes, I can't wait to dive into it. It's definitely on my reading list.
Thank
So,
you.
why does everyone need a copy? Tell us about the book.
Well, I'm really proud of how it turned out. I think it's a culmination of the last 10 years of my life as I was journeying and kind of going through my own, comfort zone, my own quote, hero's journey of really learning and gaining more self-awareness. I kind of have documented it. I would sit in almost like an observer's perch, paying attention to my own life while I was living it. And, I did a lot of things. When my first book came out, like I had mentioned, I was terrified to speak in front of people, but I felt like if I wanted to share that message of that book, which was just a whole bunch of ways to stay in life balance, I needed to overcome that. So I did many things. I took a couple community college speech classes. I did Toastmasters for about a year. I hired someone to co-host an internet radio show with me because I've been doing it and I was scared out of my gourd. I created an interactive workshop feeling like I was clever so I wouldn't have to speak the whole time, but I found out it worked better that way anyways. And I took an acting class. And so I did all these things just to force myself out of my comfort zone because I had an inkling that I was maybe heading down this road, not out of ego, but just like I felt like it was my life's mission to just try to be a living example of a regular person, learning and growing, and just try to help other people do the same thing. So this book is just a culmination of all these different things that I paid attention to and utilized. And the way that I write about them in each chapter, I try to do it in a thought-provoking, inspiring, and entertaining way. I share a lot of stories that apply to each habit. I talk about why it's important to be aware of this and how it can potentially, help build one's foundation. And, and I put some questions in there too, just to kind of get people to think about maybe how it could apply to them as well, and some takeaways. So, I really feel like it's a lot of self-help books are kind of really detailed and stuff. And this has a lot of great information, but I don't feel like it feels like it's a heavy read.
You're right. And I saw the reviews, and more than one said, oh my God, he put it in layman's terms.
Thank you. Well, see, I feel like that's all my writing, whether it's my poems or spoken word stuff. I'm able to write in layman's terms, but with depth. And so that's what I try to do.
Right. And we commend you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So how do we find our voice, Brian? How do we do that?
It starts with I think balance is a great place to start. And I'll tell you why. I don't think it's any accident that my first book was all those different ways to learn how to stay in balance, because for me, it's kind of been my, having that knowledge has been my rock to be able to kind of help me set up a routine to really stay on top of things. You know, I learned about what helps keep me stay in balance. I learned what helps, you know, makes me step out or, you know, fall out of balance. And so I think if people can start to really pay attention to that and implement a lot of things that are balance, you know, that will help you. It's a great place to start because you are going to become more self-aware. I think when you are able to be in balance, you can move through those difficult times a little easier. My favorite part of really trying to focus on being in balance is I'm able to hear my intuition come through stronger. And that is key for me because really that's been my blueprint the last 10 years. And it's really, it's like it knows what my life mission is. And I just trust it and follow it. And so if you can quiet yourself down a little bit and let your intuition come through and trust it, you're gonna, I don't know, I think it's really, it will bring in true life fulfillment.
For sure. I struggled for years with time and didn't realize how that was my offset of balance and how that really kept me centered. And time was everything, you know, people being on time, things happening on time. And me, you know, if someone said, I'm going to do this at this time, it had to be done. Or my life seemed like it was just out of balance. Like I couldn't focus on, you know, until I got to the point to where I was like, you know what, I have to leave and I have to continue what I'm doing. If they're not on time, I just have to say, you know what, thank you, no thank you, I'm sorry, I can't, because this time was allotted.
Yeah, you know, part of it, well, because there's a part of me that is like, has been tried to like control things a little bit too much too. So maybe there's a little bit of that too, that, you know, you're becoming more aware of as well, because it's good to control some stuff, but I think I started to hold on too much, and then it just started causing me problems. I mean, it gave me the information that I needed, like for you, just like I need to do stuff on my own. But does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, because I don't know, like there's it's all about self-awareness. And the second part of the question that you asked, how does one find one's true voice? I think it's really to learn how to love and accept yourself. You know, we're spiritual beings having human experiences here. And I think our most precious task to do is to really learn how to love and accept ourselves. I think everything else, you know, points us in that direction. And if we can do that, it just releases so much weight and so much unnecessary energy that we spend trying to be someone that we're not. And so, you know, I think, you know, love yourself and everything else falls into place is my mantra. And I, you know, my journey has been really trying to find that for myself too.
True. So why do you think people are so hard on themselves?
We live in a very interesting time. First of all, advertising is all just, you know, killing us with all these ads that say we're not enough and that we need their product to become worthy and whole. Number one. And number two, social media. We're seeing everybody's best for the most part, and we're comparing it with our worst. And so it's, we're kind of having to swim upstream to get there.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. It's daily pressure. I found myself, you know how you get just kind of zone, you have to get in the zone. And I even tell my clients, you have to zone out and just tune everything out, because if you don't, the pressure of it, you know, you feel like you have to live up to all of these expectations, false expectations at that.
Oh God, yes. I mean, I have millions of stories about expectations and seeing other people that are kind of in the same field as me and like, you know, doing some things that I would really like to be doing or whatever. It's like, come on now, you know, I don't know. It messes with you. And I just really, the last few years, learned to just trust that, you know, just create something, you know, pat myself on the back for it, put it out there and just trust that it's going to find who it needs to find, instead of early on, I can't, since I've always kind of felt like I knew where things were headed. If some, whenever I released a book or something, I would kind of think, is this the thing that's going to spring me? And it would just mess with me. The expectations just left me depressed for a week or two afterwards. Instead of just, saying, you just spent, 4 or 5 months busting your butt on this, and you wrote a really great book, or you put a great short film together. Be proud of yourself. You know what I mean? Tons of people would love to be in your shoes right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's ultimately about just trusting the process and just, gratitude.
Absolutely. Have to be grateful for
Yeah.
everything, especially for the opportunity.
Oh yeah.
So you are a competitor. You compete.
I have. Are you talking about triathlons?
Yes. How did you get
Yeah.
into that? Like, what sparked that?
I've lived many lifetimes. My last one was in 2006. I will be honest with you. But in 1987, I'm dating myself. I was in college, and my kneecap got knocked out of place playing mud football. And I had to rehab it and went through surgery and everything. And as I was kind of trying to get it back into shape, a buddy of mine had done a short triathlon the summer before, and this is when triathlons were fairly new still. And I thought, wow, it just intuitively it felt like I need to do one of those. And so I set a goal to get my body ready and heal my knee, and I signed up for one, and I did it, and I just fell in love with it. And I ended up doing 4 more that summer, and then 10 more the next summer. And that third summer that I did them, I did my first Ironman, and it just kind of became a lifestyle for me. I really felt alive, and training was fun. And I was in college. It wasn't like my grades weren't that great because I wasn't studying. It's because I was out training and getting healthy. But it was a great experience to have under my belt back then, to know that, I could pretty much put my mind to anything and accomplish it if I wanted to.
And it creates a lot of discipline too.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm a very disciplined person. I'm lucky.
Yeah, because just to be focused and to, a lot of people it's a lot just to get up and go to the gym, and you're training.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're training constantly for this. That is, wow, that's impressive.
Thank you.
So you did a TEDx presentation
Yeah.
on finding your personal freedom.
Yes.
What's personal freedom for those that may be struggling with it or not really know exactly what it is?
Well, that was the heading was be yourself to free yourself, finding your personal freedom. And I think personal freedom for me, is just kind of a lot of what we've already talked about. Just really getting that place of liking who we are and with what we have to work with, and really honoring the thoughts and the feelings that come to us, and take the initiative to go do something that we feel like we might really want to try or do, but for some reason we haven't been up to this point. And so for me, I wove kind of my story of the last 10 years through 5 points that I've kind of learned and utilized during the journey. And yeah, do you want me to recite the points really quick?
Please. Go
So
ahead.
one was listen to your intuition and be open to whatever comes your way. 2 was step out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
3 was, what was 3? I think stay in life balance. 4 was enjoy the journey. And 5 was there are no accidents, or there are no rules. Happily expect the unexpected. I haven't thought about it for a little while. So there are no rules, happily expect the unexpected. So, all of those things really, really played a big part for me in where I'm at today, and kind of what's got me here.
I like that. We're definitely going to put those in the show notes because those are good. I like that.
Yeah.
So how does one overcome resistance, and just really those that are struggling with resistance, procrastination? How does one navigate through that?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of different ways. First of all, the more self-aware you can become about, I don't necessarily want to use the word wounds, but where you're, some of your things are that kind of maybe keep you. Sometimes, we're just products of our environment a little bit, maybe of what we've witnessed growing up. And so there might be some things that happen in that it causes us resistance. Um, you know, uh, Gosh, I think, say the question one more time. I mean, I know it just refresh my memory, please. I just
How do
lost my,
we beat resistance
yeah.
and or procrastination?
Yeah. Just surround yourself with other people that are doing things that you want to do. Surround yourself with positive people. Optimistic people. Surround yourself, for the most part, surround yourself with people that are disciplined, that are out there doing things. That it just makes it so much easier. Like when I was training, I did a lot of it by myself, but I also had some buddies that I would do some of the longer runs and rides with, just to get myself out the door, and it would make it more enjoyable too. So it's good to connect with others, and I've been really blessed with a lot of really cool people that have come into my life at different times, and so I've always tried to surround myself with other people that are on the path that I want to be on, and that I know are going to be consistent.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the things that I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years or so, and people that are holding me accountable.
Yes.
And that is huge. Having someone that will hold you accountable and say,
Yes.
you said you
Yes.
wanted to do this.
I did.
What's going on with this project? What's happening?
That's a great point. Just accountability. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, remaining accountable for yourself, making sure you stay on. I've been getting into these lists, but not to-do lists, because my to-do list would go on and on.
Yeah,
and
right.
on.
I know. Me too.
Right. So I only make it a point to put 4 things a day on the list, and that's it.
Smart.
4 things and get them done, and then start a new list the next day.
No, that's great. I mean, because sometimes it just feels overwhelming, and then nothing gets done. And I do that to myself a lot.
Yeah. And then I wait till the last minute and I knew I had like months and weeks to get this done. And then I'm sitting up the day before.
Yep.
Why do we do that to ourselves? But that's the creative in us, right?
Yeah. For me, I'm lucky in some ways, because if I have something coming up that scares me, I mean, I know that I'm supposed to do it. I suppose up to this point in my life, if something has kind of scared me, but also kind of sounded exciting, I knew I was on the right track. But like if I have a speaking engagement coming up, which I haven't done a ton of speaking yet, that still makes me a little nervous. I do not mess around at all. I am on that months ahead of time. I do not want to F it up. I don't want to mess it up. You know what I mean? I want to do a good job. So I suppose it depends on what it is, but some of those bigger things, I'm on it.
Yeah. Like I've been, and I'm pretty much on the same thing. Like when it comes to speaking, like I have a speaking engagement in August. I'm ready.
Sweet.
I'm ready.
Yes, I've got one in September. I got to go to Sweden for it. So, but I mean, I'm already starting to like try to put it together, because I want that sucker to be down.
Exactly. I love it. And so what are you working on right now? I know the book just came out, but what else do you have in the pipeline? What's going on?
Well, other than, marketing it, I just had a great chat with a buddy of mine who's a really talented comedian, and just a great guy. And I've always loved his energy. And we were just chatting, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, light bulbs went off above our heads at the same time. And we're going to put a presentation together called like an evening of inspiration and comedy. And I'll do a half hour of talking. He'll do a half hour of comedy, and we'll do a half hour together. And it just, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of fun. And it's just kind of right up my wheelhouse. We can take it to colleges. And so that's something I'm going to start doing. And what else? I think I'm in the process of, I'm going to be filming some online courses based on the book as well. And so that'll be fun. I've got a small part in a TV show that's coming up in a couple months. And so I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, I mean, I'm blessed. I've got some more spoken word videos that are going to be coming up pretty soon too, which I really enjoy doing. So I'm just trying to be creative in a lot of different ways.
I love those. Yeah, keep
Yeah.
pumping those out.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Well, as we come to the end of our
Yeah.
amazing interview, I have one last question, and it's a very fun question. I
Yeah.
ask all of my guests. No
Uh-oh.
one has ever had the same question.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So, what would you do if you found a penguin in your freezer?
Is it alive or dead?
Oh, wow. Good question. Probably alive because they can survive in those temperatures.
Okay. I would probably call it bird rescue place.
Okay.
Is that the right
You wouldn't
answer?
keep it?
Well, I mean, in LA, I don't think it would be very happy. It'd probably
Not at
be too
all.
warm. So, yeah, for the welfare of the bird, I'd probably, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd play with it for a half hour and give it a name, and then I'd call it the bird place.
Too cute. You mean you wouldn't make a short film about it?
Oh, oh.
Ah,
Possibly, or at least a video at the very least.
see?
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be looking for that video as well.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, you are definitely winning in the Habits for Success space, and I'm so happy to have had you on the show.
No, thank you, likewise. You got great energy.
Thank you. So tell everyone where to find you and how to connect with you and stay connected.
Thanks. My website's gbrianbenson.com, and you can find the book at habitsforsuccessbook.com. And on social media, pretty much everything's at gbrianbenson.
Awesome. And I will definitely do my part and make sure that all of the information is in the show notes and in the description on YouTube. Well, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Winning Brand podcast and bringing your expertise to the show. And as we wrap for the day, everyone, always remember there are two great days in a person's life: the day we are born and the day we discover why. Until next time, bye.
Thank you.